It's not just that the Packers lost to the Chicago Bears on Sunday. It's the way it happened in maybe the most embarrassing loss of the Matt LaFLeur era.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast to iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. You will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet, and the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Today's post-game Locked On Packers brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL lets you post your job for free. LinkedIn.com/LockedOnNFL. The end of the game was a perfect encapsulation of the coaching disaster class put on by the Green Bay Packers in this game. And it was all three phases in this one. You wanted to get off to a fast start offensively, couldn't do it. Matt LaFLeur, that's a Matt LaFLeur problem. Special teams peed down their leg yet again. They give up a punt return touchdown on the Johnny Knox penalty play that people of a certain age will be able to remember. And then the defense, which played well most of the game. On the last play, it's 3rd and 11. And for whatever reason, you're in Hail Mary mode, not realizing that if you just pick up the first down, there's probably going to be time to get up and spike it. If you're going to play that kind of defense, then what you have to do is bait DJ Moore into running. Let him catch it and keep running and make him think, oh my gosh, maybe I'll have a chance to score. He eats up another 2, maybe 3 seconds. And guess what? The Bears they had 3 seconds left when they snapped the ball. Well, that was a 15-yard pass. If all of a sudden he runs 15 yards further, maybe those 300-pound offensive linemen can't get down there in time. That would have been a reasonable thing to do. Bait them into catching the ball and then letting him run or holding him up or running on his back, like actually physically holding him up as he runs down the field or keeping him up, like walking with him down the field. You could do that. That's legal. You can do that. Unless he wriggles out of your grasp, you could do that. But the Packers didn't have a good plan for that situation. And so they give up the game-winning field goal. Like, we're going to talk about the injuries. We're going to talk about the stakes. Here's the problem. Yes, this game did end up mattering. Matt LaFLeur did not know that really until the fourth quarter. At halftime, maybe you get a feel that, like, hey, Jaden Daniels gets benched. He's not 100% healthy. And so, you have a real chance here the Cowboys could actually win this game. I don't think the Packers knew what they wanted from this game. And that is a Matt LaFLeur problem. I don't think they knew. And it was very, very clear early on. Do you want to go? Do you want to really play this game? Or do you kind of want to half play this game? And it turned out, and we knew going in, like, Josh Jacobs not going to play all the snaps. I don't think the plan was ever for Jordan Love to play all the snaps. You saw the Malik Willis. I had a word for it that I'm not going to repeat on social media. But they didn't seem to have a direction. They weren't like, let's go all out to try and win this game and go into the postseason feeling great about ourselves. This is the worst of all worlds. Because not only did you kind of half-ass it, you blew some key situational opportunities. Your special teams looks like garbage. Yeah, Brandon McManus kicked a 55-yarder go-ahead field goal at the end. Your defense comes up with a big play when it needs one, but then at the end couldn't. And I don't even blame the defense. Like, I'm really bullish on this defensive performance. Generally, I don't blame Carrington Valentine or the linebackers or anyone else, watch the rep. There are 4 or 5 guys. It's a 3-man rush, and there are 4 or 5 guys 40 yards down the field. What are they doing? Why are they all the way down there? It's like they didn't realize that the Bears could have time to get up and spike it. So they just thought, well, they're going to line up 3. Like, I don't know if that was an okie doke, but by the way, that's not a Hail Mary formation either. Like, that's a weird special formation. So I don't know what the Packers' plan was there. And this is on top of some of the weird decision-making during the game, multiple, with your number one offense, with Jordan Love. You punt on 4th and 6 in plus territory. What is my rule? What is my rule? Longtime listeners, everydayers, turn to your partner and let them know my rule. If it's 6 yards or less in plus territory, you go. They punt. Oh my God, they punt. They punted in plus territory on 4th and 6, and that turned into the return touchdown. They got what they deserved on that. And then during the game, we heard from the broadcast team that Matt LaFLeur told them that Brandon McManus has allowed them to be more conservative. They were more aggressive last year because they didn't trust their kicker. Good. Call the game like you don't trust your kicker, and then any points he gives you are gravy. Like if it's 4th and 8, 10, 12, kick it. Like last week, I didn't understand. There was a decision inside the 5 or inside the 10. I didn't understand kicking it. But then I checked the numbers, and it was definitely in the 5. I think it was 4th and 4 at the 4, 4th and 4 at the 5. And the numbers said, toss it. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so then you kick the field goal there. I hated hearing them say, oh yeah, well, we're actually more conservative this year in plus territory because we have this kicker and we feel like he can make them. Okay, but you have a top 5 offense. You've got a really good coach. It didn't seem like the Packers had a clear vision for what they wanted to execute here. What did you want to try and do? Was it put some new stuff on tape outside of the Malik Willis with Jordan Love on the field at the same time? What was accomplished? What new did you put on tape? Your defensive guys, and we'll see what the rotations look like. I mean, it seemed like Aaron Mosby was on the field way more than normal. It seemed like some of the backup defensive tackles were in there way more than normal with Kenny Clark. Getting some breathers probably, but like Xavier McKinney played the whole game. Keyshawn Nixon played the whole game. So Elton Jenkins played the whole game. Zach Tom played the whole game. What was the plan? What was the plan? What were you trying to accomplish? And it reminds me, and it's a different because that team had already, wrapped up the 1 seed and they were failing to keep the Packers out of the postseason. But it reminds me of that 2010 game with the Packers and the Bears in week 17, I guess. When if the Bears win, they can keep the Packers out, and they had already wrapped up. I guess it was the 2 seed, but a bye at the time when there were 2 byes, and so they didn't have to play their guys, but they did, and they didn't really have a clear vision of what they were trying to accomplish. And I will always believe that it hurt them in the NFC Championship game that the last time that they saw the Packers had won. And then not to mention, you have a chance to keep your rivals out of the postseason. You can't do it. They go win the Super Bowl. That's a pretty bad look for the Bears. But now the Packers are 1-5 in this division. They win 11 games. The Packers don't hit their over 11.5. That hurts me personally, but does not matter to them. They're going to win 2 more games this year, and by every number, are going to be better than last year. And yet I feel worse about this team going into the postseason than I did a year ago. They are capable of playing well enough to beat anybody. I don't know why you would have any faith. I don't know why you would have any faith that they would do it 3 times in a row on the road. I don't know why you would have any faith that would be the case. I really don't. What were they trying? And if it was a fast start, you failed. You failed. This was like my number one thing. We talked about this with Elizal last week. The number one thing was, if you're going to play your guys, go out there and start fast offensively. They took the ball. They started going. Can't get anything going. You fumble. Guys get hurt. Christian Watson, we'll talk about the Watson injury. And look, this is all mood if Jordan Love is hurt. It seemed like he would have been able to go back in the game. It seems like he's going to be okay. We'll see how he feels tomorrow morning. But man, how do you like, if you're really going to get into mental gymnastics, I guess what you can say is the opportunity, I'm stretching here, obviously, but if you want to be really generous, to come in pissed off, that's the best I can do. That's the best I can do. It's not great. Now, for the most part, and again, I do not blame the defense for that last play. For the most part, the defense, I thought, played a terrific game. And I want to talk about the defense next on a post-game Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at LinkedIn. Growing your small business in 2025 comes down to how well you can hire. And let's face it, better hires start with smarter insights. That's where LinkedIn comes in with the strongest hiring data available. LinkedIn helps you identify the right candidates, giving you the confidence to make the best decisions for your business. LinkedIn is a site that I've used for years. I was an early adopter to LinkedIn, and it is a game changer when it comes to hiring or if you're trying to get a job. Small businesses are wearing a lot of hats, so hiring is crucial. LinkedIn gets that. That's why you connect with the best candidate using the data you won't find anywhere else. In fact, 72% of small businesses say LinkedIn has helped them find high-quality candidates. Hire smarter this year and find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Today's episode also brought to you by Rocket Money. Have you ever found a subscription you forgot you were paying for, or that maybe you're paying for twice? It's happened to me. Don't let it happen to you. Rocket Money can help. It's a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. I need a subscription tracker because I'm just not good enough about paying attention to that stuff. I'm really not. And you can also set aside money automatically for the future. I have used that feature as well before. In fact, I did it when I proposed to my wife. I made sure I was setting aside money. I had said, okay, this is just going to get set aside. I'm not even going to see it. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Until the end, okay? Until the end, this was the kind of defensive performance that you wanted to see if you were the Packers. I predicted in our crossover Thursday that this would be something like a 31-17 kind of game. The Packers defense gave up 17 points. The special teams gave up another 7. The Bears, for their part, they win a game with 224 yards of offense. They win a football game averaging 3.9 yards per play. They win a football game averaging 4.5 yards per attempt. They win a football game rushing it 26 times and averaging 3.2 yards per rush. And they win a football game turning it over twice. Now, the problem for the Packers is that they also turned it over twice, fumbled twice. But this was the kind of defensive performance. They played much better against the screens. Yeah, they hit him for a touchdown with DJ Moore on a screen. But for the most part, they had this team corralled. It was, again, the offense. It was, again, the offense that just did not show up. That's what happened. That's what lost in this game. We saw, once again, the flashes from Edgerrin Cooper. We saw the pass rush make some nice plays, flush Caleb Williams out of the pocket. Now, the linebacker play outside of Edgerrin Cooper is still atrocious. Led the team in tackles, had a TFL, but the Packers had 7 tackles in the backfield in this game. They created a fumble on a great play in a huge moment. They got an interception in a huge moment, but the Packers, by and large, offensively did not take advantage of the Chicago Bears' mistakes. It wasn't perfect, but you saw Javon Bullard make a couple nice plays. Also had a missed tackle with a bad angle on the DJ Moore touchdown. We saw Rashawn Gary being disruptive. Interior pass rush disruptive. Keaton Oladapo makes a start and I thought acquitted himself decently. Didn't make any plays, but didn't make any big mistakes either. Until the end, until the final play, which again is a coaching problem. This defense did what it was supposed to do. Now, the offense, I understand, had Malik Willis in the game for more than a half. So that's part of the thing here. And I want to address this bit of it because I know that there are Packer fans out there who think that this offense, that Malik Willis is just better than Jordan Love, which is just like crazy talk. But the way that Matt LaFleur calls the offense is different. But here's what I don't understand. You have Malik Willis. So you have the 4th down play, for example. This goes back to our first point of Mark coaching. It's 4th and 2. You have a quarterback who can run, which is like the ultimate cheat code. It's the ultimate weapon in a situation like that. In short yardage, to have a quarterback that can run. You don't get Malik Willis on the edge. You don't have a play action play. You don't have a zone read where Malik Willis can read the defensive end and either give it or pull it. It's not an RPO where you can ask Malik Willis to read a conflict defender and then get the ball out. It's just a plain old jet sweep. So it's not that I'm going to blame Malik Willis. It's not Malik Willis's fault. It's that whether it was Jordan Love or Malik Willis, I thought Matt LaFleur did a really bad job of managing this game, of calling this game. And I said this on the radio somewhere, I don't remember where now, that it seemed like last week, the Packers, that Matt LaFleur called that game like he didn't want to show anything. Like he was just kind of like, let's just see if we can, with our B- stuff, let's just see what we can do here. That's how it felt to me. And this game felt similar until Malik Willis came in, and then you start to do some of the interesting things that you do. The Packers, I mean, look, offensively, they were way more impressive in this game than the Bears. 367 yards of total offense, 6 yards per play. Like that's a good offensive day. But you have the 2 turnovers. The Malik Willis fumble is inexcusable. But you know what's worse? The Jaden Reed fumble, because Jaden Reed is supposed to be a star player. He's supposed to be one of your guys. And then, of course, he makes the catch on an underthrown ball from Malik Willis that it just seems like if that had been Jordan Love, he wouldn't have made that play. But I just, this as a tune-up, it was horrible offensively. You gave this team essentially nothing to hold their hat, to hang their hat on heading into the playoffs. The offensive line is good. The offensive line played well. Packers averaged 5.5 yards per play in this game. Emmanuel Wilson over 5 yards a carry. Chris Brooks over 7 yards a carry. Josh Jacobs over 7 yards a carry. They know they can run the ball on anybody. But so then on 4th and I think maybe it was 4th and 3, 4th and 4. Either way, you run downhill You probably get the yardage. I just don't understand what Matt LaFLeur has been on this year. I don't understand it at all. And I'm starting to get frustrated in ways that I have not been frustrated with the coaching in the past. And maybe an off season to get things figured out, you feel more confident in Love's ability to move and avoid pressure and not feeling like you have to baby him so much, because I do feel like they have been babying him, and it's fine when you can run the ball all over the Saints and the Seahawks and the Bears in a lot of ways. But against the real teams, you're going to have to get Jordan Love involved. And this just abandoning of the play action when you have such a good play action game. I just don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand what has been going on with Matt LaFleur all year. And the Packers are the 7th seed as a result. Now, Christian Watson, Jordan Love, they're hurt. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about it next on Locked On Packers. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. From big game upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Visit the website and share betting lines around the league to the Packers and Eagles. Is there a FanDuel line in the playoffs yet? I don't see it. I don't see it. Oh, Packers plus 3.5. Plus 3.5. That seems about right. I kind of like the hook though. Just go to FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. For your second listen, go check out Locked On NFL, now with 2 shows every day. First, the madman Tyler Rowland kicks off your morning with a double shot of NFL espresso. Then stop by the barbershop with Tony Wiggins for some real NFL talk. Find Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, Jordan Love and Christian Watson. Now, here's the thing. We have to start here. Romeo Doubs, late scratch with an illness. Maybe something to keep an eye on. So Christian Watson has to play because you're running out of receivers otherwise. Christian Watson gets hurt. We don't know the extent of the injury. I'm not going to speculate on the injury, but here's what we know. This offense is fundamentally different when Christian Watson's on the field. Fox put up the graphic via Next Gen Stats. 8.9 yards per pass when Christian Watson is on the field. 7 yards per pass. 7 yards per pass. It's a big damn difference. It's a big damn difference. And it's going to be tough to overcome. In a lot of ways, I feel like if he can't go, then it's a bigger deal than if Jair Alexander can't go. It really is. Now, Jordan Love, speaking to reporters as we speak right now, said he's feeling better already, and he's excited about whatever comes next. He said he feels good about his chances to play against Philly. Okay, that's good. That's good. But Matt LaFleur can't treat Love like damaged goods. He has to just go out and let him play. And that's just regardless of the injury. Regardless of the injury, that's true. And it just hasn't been true enough this season. But the Christian Watson piece of this, they're going to have to, whether it's finding ways to use Bo Melton more often, whether it's finding Luke Musgrave in the middle of the field on seam routes and stretching the ball that way, they have to find an explosive element. Too many times they go hard play action they get to the top of their drop, whether it's Malik Willis or Jordan Love, and there's not someone there when it's not Christian Watson. But the gravity that Christian Watson creates, is enormous. It's not just that he makes every play. It's that he makes it easier for everyone else. And without that, that's a huge issue for this team. No matter how much you get on the ground, the Josh Jacobs stuff is great. But if you can't then use that as a tool, like the running game, establishing the run is good in theory. Like even in the Neanderthal version of football, you establish the run. Chances are you're not going to win a game solely on the run game. You're going to have to throw some passes. You're going to, now, if you know, the Packers NFC championship game a couple years ago, notwithstanding, that doesn't really happen. Right? It can, it usually doesn't. The Packers, though, you run the ball to set up the play action, except the Packers haven't really set up the play action. Why? It doesn't make sense to me. And I understand, you know, the Matt LaFleur, we don't want to have tight ends blocking one-on-one, but they've found other ways to use play action. And it's become a token part of their offense at this point. And I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And Christian Watson is a big part of that. Now, theoretically, you should be able, you know, like they were calling Dagger and Yankee and a lot of their core concepts for Dontavian Wicks last year, but you're using either Romeo Doubs or Christian Watson to clear that out. If you don't have someone that people are really afraid of, those clear outs don't really work. They don't really work. And so, yeah, Jordan Love being healthy is really useful. It's really good if he can play. Obviously better than if he can't. They were not going to win against any NFC team without Jordan Love, regardless of the Malik Willis push that some of you have talked yourself into for reasons that blow my mind. But I am skeptical that they are going to get these offensive identity issues, these offensive slow start issues fixed in time. All you have is a week. Now, maybe it helps that they faced this team one time already and they were able, 400 yards of offense on a defense that ended up number one in DVOA this year. I know that, Cooper DeJean wasn't in that game. They weren't playing as well early in the year. It took them some time to get all the nuances of the Vic Fangio scheme down. All the more reason you'd want Christian Watson if you could get him. You're not probably going to get him. So can you get Romeo Doubs the ball more often? Can you create more opportunities for Tucker Kraft? Can you open up Dontavian Wicks one-on-one, backside X? Just let's go to work in coverage against Darius Slay or, Quinyon Mitchell. It's going to be hard to live that way, but it might be worth a shot. Now, this Packers offensive line in the run game, much better than they were the last time they played the Eagles. But Jalen Carter still exists. He's still a big-time problem. We're going to have plenty of time to preview Packers-Eagles. But the issues that the Packers are having, I don't know what the fix is right now. Because this team was rolling. They were coming out, and they were starting fast. Albeit against bad teams, I understand that. But good teams against bad teams, that's what you do. You steamroll them. This was not a good team. So this was a game you expected to come out and steamroll. And you couldn't. You didn't. And maybe you didn't want to. I don't understand it. Matt LaFleur on the podium taking the blame for that final situation. Said he was caught by surprise. I don't know what that means. Isn't that what you have a defensive coordinator for? Isn't that what you have other coaches for? I don't quite understand that. Right now, my confidence level in their ability to go in, if they were going to go play LA, I don't think LA is very good. So I would, if they'd have won, if they'd have gotten one freaking stop, or if the clock would have run out on the Bears, if Edge Cooper manages to tackle Caleb Williams in the backfield. By the way, I still think Caleb Williams' knee might have been down just before the ball came away. If that had happened and the Packers are going to LA, I would go, I kind of don't care. Matt LaFleur kind of owns Sean McVay, and I would be good about it. I don't feel that way about this team now. And maybe my mind will change over the course of the week. They can absolutely go to Philadelphia and beat the Eagles. They absolutely can. I don't feel confident in predicting it at the moment. But who knows? Maybe Jalen Hurts doesn't play. He's still in concussion protocol. We'll have plenty of time to talk about that coming up this week on Locked On Packers. Follow me on all the social medias, Peter_Bukowski. Follow me with the podcast on all the social medias. And I'm just coming out of the flu fog. So thank you all for bearing with me over the last, 2 weeks. As I've been fighting through this, it stinks. I hope you do not get it. And then, of course, we'll be live after the game on this weekend, whenever the game is. Do we have the schedule? The schedule is not. I haven't seen the schedule. The FanDuel schedule says it is let's see, the 1:00 game on Sunday. Okay, noon Lambeau time. Let's see. We'll be live after that on our YouTube stream so that you can stay locked on Packers.